Good evening.
Good evening.
Who's happy to be in Ward 1 tonight? There we go. Well, before we kick it off and I allow the councilman just to say hello and we kick off the Q&A session, I want to have my cabinet introduce themselves, if you can, and we'll start with Director King. Director?
Hi, good evening. Marty Kane, Director of Public Utilities.
Good evening. I'm Sonia Pryor-Jones, Chief for Youth and Family Success.
Good evening. I'm Annie Todd. I'm the Chief of Police in Cleveland.
Wayne Drummond, Department of Public Safety.
Angela Shue Woodson, Director of Community Relations.
Reverend
Mark
Owens.
Owens, Director of Public Health.
Reverend Owens.
Marvin Owens, Southeast Side Senior Strategy.
Matt Cole, Director of Human Resources. Jeff Epstein, Chief of Integrated Development. Mark Griffin, Law Director.
Adam Davenport with City Planning.
Melissa Hernandez, Director of Community Development.
Bonnie Keelan, Chief Operating Officer.
We have Parks and Rec in the backs. Say hello. Building and Housing on the end. We have our Fire Chief, Chief Luke. Director of Aging, Director McNamara. Michelle. Callie. Jamie. And Animal Control's in the house too, right? There we go. There we go. And our Director of the Office of Equal Opportunity, Tyson Mitchell, as well too. Let's give our cabinet a big round of applause if we can. And before I kick it off, I want to have the councilman just to welcome us to his ward if he can. Councilman Joe Jones.
All right.
Got it? Yep.
Thank you. I just want to take this opportunity. Can you guys hear me? Is it on? It was on just a moment ago. Is it on now? Testing, 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? Well, that's all right. I'm going to put my outside voice on.
Okay.
I want to take this opportunity to thank you all for being here today. It's a very important day because this is the day that the mayor has brought his entire staff out. I want to take the opportunity to also thank the people who work hard day in and day out in our neighborhood. And that's the Harvard Community Service Center, Miss Elaine Goldstein. I want to also take the opportunity to thank the staff of the mayor's administration. They do an outstanding job for us day in and day out. Let's give them a great round of applause.
You know, I like it.
I want to just take this opportunity to thank the mayor of the city of Cleveland for the work that he is doing in the Lee Harvard community and the promise that he's made to make our community stronger than what it was before he got here. And I'm appreciative of the $4.1 million that we had the ribbon breaking here in the springtime, or actually in the fall, for the John F. Kennedy students to have a state-of-the-art track and field out here. And I won't go through everything because I want the mayor to talk about some of the projects that we have going on in our community. One of them I'm very proud of is the Eagle's Nest development that's going to be happening at the John F. Kennedy site, which will be new housing in addition to retail. So there's a lot of work that is being laid in terms of the foundation for our community. And as many of you know, it has took me 8 years to fight for this neighborhood and this community. Everything I do it for you. And I do it for you because I'm born, bred, and raised in this community. And several blocks down, in 1968, I was born on a kitchen table in this neighborhood. That's how deep it goes. And so I'm very thankful that we have a great partnership with a good man and a great mayor. And I look forward to continuing that partnership and continuing to bring investments so our community look like other neighborhoods that we go to and we see on a daily basis, especially on the west side of the city of Cleveland.
Thank you, Councilman. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. We have several more members of my cabinet that just joined. We have Director of Urban Analytics Innovation, Dr. Liz Crow. We have our Head of Civil Service, Rashawn Long. Say hello, Rashawn. And then the man who's helped us get all this snow up, Director Frank Williams. And the Head of Arts and Culture for the city, Rhonda Brown. There we go. By the way, we have a great Black History Month art gallery on the second floor of City Hall. So come down to City Hall and check it out if you can to celebrate Black History Month. Before we formally kick off the Town Hall, I want us just to take a few moments to reflect on the tragic lives we've lost in this neighborhood over the last couple of weeks. As we know, one homicide is way too many in our city, and it's important to reflect on those tragedies. So if we can please just have a moment of silence for those who've lost their lives in this neighborhood over the last several weeks. Thank you. So I want to have, in a few moments, Marvin Owens talk about the work we're doing with our Southeast Side Promise. But I want to spend just a few moments at the top of this town hall to talk about our budget priorities as a city. Just yesterday, I formally presented my budget to City Council. Happy to, is that Siri questioning me already? Come on now. And I think it's important to take note of where we were as a city when I took office in terms of our fiscal outlook. So when we took office under our first budget, we inherited a $61 million deficit. $61 million deficit. And the mandate from City Council and the public was to make sure we had a strong pathway to creating a structurally balanced budget. So yesterday I presented the third structurally balanced budget in a row for the city of Cleveland. And that allows us to do a couple of things. Number one, we now have increased our rainy day fund over the last 3 years by 50%. And that's important because all the federal uncertainty we have right now with federal funding, having that rainy day fund gives us better flexibility and allows us to manage that risk better as a city. The other thing we've been able to do because of having a structurally balanced budget, we've also had 2 major credit rating upgrades over the last 3 years, the most we've had in over a decade in the city of Cleveland. And so this budget reflects my values and our values as a city. First and foremost, it continues prioritizing public safety. As you know, as mayor of this great city, public safety is my number one priority as mayor. And it will always be my number one priority as mayor. And I know we've had a lot of challenges in our city over the last several years in terms of safety and violent crime. We saw a major uptick in violent crime during the pandemic and coming out of the pandemic. And I believe over the last 3 years, we've done some compelling things to really address some of the root causes of violent crime, but also get more aggressive in terms of innovative and thoughtful law enforcement across the city. Now, one of the biggest challenges that we had was attracting and retaining new officers to join the ranks of our division of police. In the first year of my time as mayor, we lost over 200 officers. Over 200 officers because of retirements and resignations. Last year, we only lost 117. That represents a roughly 42% reduction in attrition in terms of those that have left our department. And why were we able to do that? Well, we did a couple things. Number one, we increased pay for the men and women of our police department. We also have cut the time to hire. Historically, it would take 18 months to hire somebody in our police department. Now it only takes 4 months. 4 months, cutting red tape where we can. So more investments in pay, more investments in retention bonuses, more investments to make sure we're fast tracking folks who want to join the ranks of our police department. And we're using data and technology in a very different way. Raise your hand if you've been able to put your Ring camera with our Fusus technology system. Has anyone signed up for that? Well, that's a problem. We got to fix that. Director, we got to fix that, right? Chief, we got to fix that. So who has a Ring camera here, right? Did you know you can integrate your Ring camera technology into the real-time crime center with our police department? Did you know that?
No.
All right, so I'm going to work with the chief and the director and your council person to make sure we go door to door and get you guys signed up for your Ring cameras to be in our real-time crime center. The other thing that we've done is we've doubled down on our partnerships with the U.S. Attorney, U.S. Marshal, and the FBI in terms of our violent crime task force reduction details happening, not just in this ward, but all across the city. We've also hired 5 new crime intelligence analysts in all of our police districts. So we have a dedicated crime intelligence analyst working with our command staff in this police district, in this ward, tracking the trends around violent crime so we can be more thoughtful to address those hotspots, increase visibility where we can, but also make sure we have a more robust community policing approach to how we reduce violent crime. And because of those investments, we saw a nearly 25% reduction in homicides in the city last year. And since I took office, we've seen a 45% reduction in homicides over the last 3 years. But that's not good enough. That's not good enough. We got to do more, not just as an administration, but as a community. And one of the biggest things we see happening in our city right now are people using guns to solve disputes. We have to do a better job of being better neighbors to our friends and our family members, especially young people, And so to really do a better job of addressing some of the root causes of violent crime in terms of violence prevention, we are undergoing a year-wide effort to create a citywide blueprint called Thrive, led by Chief Sonia Pryor-Jones and Rich Austin, who's in the back. And with that blueprint, we're going to have more coordinated strategies in terms of funding the right out-of-school time providers who can help us reduce crime, funding the right violence interrupters who can help us reduce crime. And we have our Neighborhood Safety Endowment Fund, so a pot of money, over $10 million at the Cleveland Foundation, also gives us additional capital to invest in violence prevention initiatives across the city. The second thing we've been really focused on is modernizing City Hall for the 21st century. Who's used our new 311 system so far? How is it?
Wonderful.
It's cool. All right, so I'm going to explain what the 311 system is. Okay, so historically, if you had a pothole request or graffiti or illegal dumping site, what would you do? Probably call Joe Jones, right? Or you would call the old Mayor's Action Center hotline, and that complaint would end up in the nowhere, right? And you can never track that complaint, right? Well, now if you take out your phone and call 311, you can levy your complaint, whether it's graffiti, illegal dumping, pothole, groundhogs. Hear a lot about groundhogs over here. And that allows us to track that complaint and make sure you can track that complaint like an Amazon package. Now, I know y'all order Amazon packages, right? Y'all track those packages, right? So we now have that technology to track your complaint in a more effective way to ensure we are doing a better job of delivering on high quality city services. The other thing we've done is I know we get a lot of complaints about abandoned homes, a lot of complaints about code enforcement, a lot of complaints about vacant lots. And so we work with many grassroots activists in this room and city council to pass legislation called Residents First. Because what we've seen, especially and the east side of Cleveland coming out of the Great Recession in 2008, we've seen out of state and in many cases out of country predatory landlords preying on our neighborhoods. And it's unacceptable. And so we passed legislation last year that does a couple things. Number one, now, for the first time ever, just like they got in the suburbs, we have a point of sale inspection for the exterior of all vacant property in the city of Cleveland. That's a big deal. Big deal. Secondly, if you're an out-of-state or out-of-country landlord, you now have to have a local agent in charge to buy that property. Before that law was passed, we could never track who held the title on a piece of land. We had one case where somebody was in Sweden. How do we hold them accountable in a court of law if they're in Sweden? So now with this law, we can hold them accountable, not just in civil court, but guess what? In criminal court as well, too. We've also increased the standards around our rental registry system. And because of these tools, because of these new policy measures, we now have a better baseline for increasing the quality of our housing stock in the city of Cleveland. A couple other things I want to chime in on is the work we've done to really revamp how we think about economic development in Cleveland. And I know one of the biggest complaints I've heard in this neighborhood and all across the city is we need more jobs in our city, right? Yeah. Places where we have jobs in our neighborhoods. It's so frustrating that many folks in our city have to catch 2 buses to get to a good quality job. That's not right. And so we've done a couple things to reverse that trend. One, we have taken $50 million of funding. We're in the process of raising another $50 million of funding to make this $100 million of funding. And we've put together 1,000 acres of vacant land all across the city. And a lot of that land is located in the east side of Cleveland. And we're putting this land together and making that land shovel ready to bring more jobs back to our neighborhoods. Because when I talk to small businesses across the city and across the region, once they're ready to expand, what's the biggest pain point? We don't have the land in the city. That's why Columbus has beaten our butts for a long time, right? They had land ready to go. So now we'll have the land ready to go, but also we need our community members and our residents to be trained for these jobs. We need our young students at CMSD to be trained and upskilled for these jobs. So we're working with CMSD to make sure we have better pathways for our young people to get jobs in advanced manufacturing, jobs in healthcare, jobs in technology. We're modernizing our storefront renovation program so it's easier, more flexible for our Main Street businesses and neighborhoods like in Lee Harvard to ensure that they have the capital they need to be successful. And we've also are on a pathway to have finally a fully staffed Department of Economic Development. That hasn't happened since 2015. That's right. 2015. So all those things gives us a better baseline in terms of economic development. The other thing I'm excited about is the work we're doing around closing some of the investment and lending gaps that we've seen in our community. Raise your hand if you have had a hard time getting access to capital or access to a loan from a local bank in town. Raise your hand. See, that's not good enough either. Did you know for over 10 years, we didn't have a formal memorandum of understanding, a formal agreement with our local banks to hold them accountable? Did you know that? Yeah. Well, just 2 weeks ago, we just signed two MOUs with JP Morgan and Key Bank with real teeth, real accountability to address these lending gaps so that our local banks put their money where their mouth is. So if they want to bank with the city of Cleveland, we need to hold them to a higher standard to invest in our neighborhoods. One immediate thing that we're going to launch over the next couple of weeks is a new $100 million housing fund with our local bank, Key Bank, and a national nonprofit called LISC. And with this new fund, it's going to allow us to bring online 1,000 new units of workforce and affordable housing in the city of Cleveland, with a target focus of investing in the east side of Cleveland with that new housing investment fund. So we've invested in public safety with this budget. We continue to make investments to modernize our city government for the present and for the future. And we are continuing to prioritize putting people and neighborhoods first with the priorities that we've outlined in this budget. And as the old saying goes, your budget is a reflection of your values. And I think this budget, with the support of City Council, will go a long way to building on the progress that we've made over the last 3 years. Now I want to have Marvin Owens give us a quick update of what we're doing with the Southeast Side Promise Initiative, and then we'll take some questions. Marvin?
Good evening, everybody.
Reverend Marvin Owens, by the way.
Thank you, thank you. As you all know, when Mayor Bibb was elected, he made the Southeast Side a major priority. And the Southeast Side Promise was something that, that I think the whole administration really recognized as a must. Can you hear me? And so for the last year and a half, I have been responsible for implementing the Southeast Side Promise, and that is in partnership with some amazing organizations. We've talked about Elaine Golston and the Harvard Community Services Center. We could not get this work done without Harvard Community Services Center, without our partnership with New Point Development Corporation in the Mount Pleasant and Union Miles neighborhoods, but also in partnership with some amazing organizations across the city, Community Housing Solutions, Cleveland Housing Network, Cleveland Neighborhood Progress. A number of organizations have really leaned into the Southeast Side Promise. So I want to give you a little bit of an update. The Southeast Side Promise had 4 main components. The first component is housing and housing development and home repair. I'm happy to announce that over the last 9 months, we've been able to start renovation and finish renovations on 23 homes in the Southeast Side. Most of these homes are owned by seniors who were part of the Department of Aging. We got referrals from our city council leadership as well as from our partners in the CDC space. And we're now going to be launching into some rehab projects across the Southeast Side as well. On the commercial corridor piece, which is the second element of the Southeast Side Promise, we were able to make that first investment in Docks on Harvard, which is a new restaurant on Harvard. But we have almost $500,000 in investment in the pipeline for small businesses that are becoming online to get invested in from the fund that was created by the city of Cleveland. We're thankful for Cleveland Neighborhood Progress for our partner in administering that program. And then we have the larger piece, which is the catalytic redevelopment work, which is something that has caught a lot of attention. We've been really thrilled to be in partnership with some amazing developer partners to develop key sites on the Southeast Side of Cleveland, the biggest of which is the JFK High School site. Eagles Nest is the team that is going to be leading that redevelopment effort. Eagles Nest is led by Mr. Brian Hall and the President's Council in partnership with Fairmount Properties, Adam Fishman. That partnership is committed to developing hundreds of units of new housing, retail space, commercial space, and really beginning to spur development on Harvard on the JFK site that we've been waiting for a long time. We're also excited that the new development deal was struck with a group out of Philadelphia called KPM that's going to be developing a mixed-use site along Miles Avenue. And then we're now we'll be interviewing potential developers for the Grace Mount Elementary School site as well. So these 3 sites will spur redevelopment in really, really significant ways. We're talking in excess of $100 million in development work that's going to be... Say that number again. In excess of $100 million in development work on both just in Lee Harvard alone. But we haven't even talked about Mount Pleasant. We haven't talked about Union Miles, which is also coming down the pike. And then the last piece I want to just raise is In partnership with our buildings department, we have really stepped up our code enforcement efforts. And I'm so thankful for the partnership with Building and Housing and the work that they're doing in terms of helping us to now really drill down on the need that we exist on the Southeast side, where code enforcement has not happened in a real significant way in a very long time. And we're not just sort of citing people for code violations, but we're offering families, residents, business owners, homeowners, resources to address the issues that we cite. So it's not just about saying there's something wrong, but we're also aligning those issues with resources in our community development department, resources in our economic development department to be able to address those issues. So with catalytic redevelopment, code enforcement, building and housing, commercial corridor redevelopment, and housing development, we're off to a great start, and we're looking forward to having a great 2025 and beyond. So happy to answer your questions.
Thanks, Marvin. Appreciate it. Okay. Now it's your meeting. Let's start with some questions. We got microphone here, just there, right? Microphone's over here. Yep. Just like the City Club. And we have the entire cabinet here to answer any questions I might not be able to answer. Okay? Please, tell me your name.
Hey, Mayor Bibb, my name is Sanders. I would like to start off with thanking Frank Williams for actually coming down to Stella Wash and fixing a lot of problems. He actually pulled up himself. Even though it took me to stand outside City Hall, that's how he caught me. But we did get it handled with the kids. But that's not why I'm here. Why I'm here is because I got robbed with the police at my home.
When did this happen?
October 17, 2024. A man told them that we was married, going through a divorce, and everything in my garage was his. The only way he was able to leave is if I released the items to him. The police went to go sit in a car. They won't release the body cam to me. I requested it several times. I emailed Joe's office back in November. Everybody act like it wasn't no big deal or no big chaos, but now I got an emergency move out my home. I had to switch my car up. I couldn't go back home. He's still taunting me and pulling up. I call the police. Nothing's being done. And I fear for my life.
Okay. I'm so sorry that happened. If possible, I want to have the chief and Chief Todd and then Chief Sonia Pryor-Jones speak with you after the meeting to really talk about your case. Did you file a police report?
He tried to run me over. The prosecutor's office won't prosecute him.
Okay, but you filed a police report?
I filed several different police reports, and none of them they all got tossed out.
And have you found housing yet?
No.
Okay, I want to be able to help with that. So let's please talk after this meeting. Chief Todd and Chief Sonia Pryor-Jones will talk to you after
Thank
the
you,
meeting.
Mayor Bibb, but that is very scary, though.
I understand. I'm so sorry that happened.
And he tried to run me over, and I got body camera that too.
Okay.
And they won't do
whatever
it.
we can do to help, we want to help, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, they let him go.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
All right. Hi, my name is Larry. I've been a resident of Leon Harbor since 2019. I'm part of a neighborhood block club within the neighborhood, and what's a little bit frustrating is I know from my residents' perspective that have been here longer, they have been asking for a park in Grace Mount Lot for years.
Yeah.
From my knowledge, from where I've been living here, it's been about 4 years. Canvassing has been done. Walking up and down the blocks has been done. I've seen it myself. In our master plan, it was labeled for some residents that are not close to Biltmore or Glendale to have houses, but then have miniature parks put in place, and that's not what was requested from the residents. And we just want a park put over in Grace Mount Lot to bring more residents there, because we have abandoned and vacant homes that we have requested through building and housing to get boarded up or something to get done about it. But if we want more residents to come into the neighborhood, we need something that's attractive. And residents, because I'm a resident on Glendale, a park makes sense. Anything less, putting more houses on that abandoned lot doesn't make sense when you already have abandoned ones facing it.
Yeah.
You know, you feel what I'm saying?
Listen, I completely agree with you on the importance of having vibrant public spaces like parks, especially in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I know this neighborhood over the last decade has done a lot of work in terms of community engagement and really thinking about what's going to be best, not only presently, but for the future. You know, what makes Lee Harvard great, especially as we celebrate Black History Month this month, is this neighborhood was a beacon of the Black middle class.
Okay.
A beacon of the Black middle class. And I want to make sure that that promise can be sustained over time. And so here's what we're trying to do, and I want to have Marvin chime in on this as well. It's a balancing act. Because 4 years ago, the biggest thing I heard from many residents in this neighborhood is we want to see more development in this part of the city like we see on the west side. And one of the biggest problems we have right now, especially in the east side of Cleveland, is a hollowing out of our population on the east side. So we not only have to do whatever we can to protect and uplift our existing residents, but how do I attract the new millennial homeowner, right, who wants to come and make Lee Harvard their home and choose Lee Harvard over Detroit Shoreway or Ohio City or downtown? And so with the master plan that we are undertaking with both the Grace Mount site, the JFK site, and the Lee Miles site, these are all three critical pieces of development to bring more economic energy and more population to the Lee Harvard neighborhood. But we want to do it in a thoughtful way that prioritizes public spaces and public parks, but at the same time, make sure we're making this part of the city an attractive destination for the existing residents and new folks as well too. Marvin, you want to add to that?
Like before Marvin, because respectfully,
yeah.
If we're going to start with development,
yeah.
we'll need to go through our building and housing and actually getting a handle on the abandoned homes.
I completely agree.
So we will need results because the residents have put in requests for boarding up of these vacant homes or figuring out where these LLCs are that are supposed to be in charge of it. I mean, the taxes are just collecting. The counties, they take a while because we're understaffed. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't make sense. It don't make sense to constantly keep pitching development when we can't even do step one. If we're not going to do step one, then I mean, like, we can get spun around all day with these kind of meetings.
But I would awfully say and push back a little bit. We have to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time.
Okay.
We have to.
Okay.
That's why we prioritize our residents first legislation to crack down on predatory landlords, systematize code enforcement. We're hiring more housing inspectors to do that work, demolish abandoned homes as well too, but also make sure we can keep Lee Harvard growing for the future as well. We got to do both. You got to do both.
All right, I ain't going my call.
Yep. Marvin,
I just want to add that I think the Lee Harvard master plan that we're really implementing now was done in concert with a lot of community engagement. And we heard you loud and clear during those meetings where green space was talked about. And the resulting plan was an attempt to make sure that we included green space in the Grace Mount site. It was something very, very specific that had to be there because you raised your voices in those community meetings. Now, every plan does not include everything that everybody wants. Mm-hmm. And so we have to make some compromises. We all have to make compromises. But I think the reality is, we heard you loud and clear when you said green space was a priority, and the current plan includes green space as a part of the Grace Mount site.
And that's what I mean by getting spun around, because if we specifically talking about the green space, we wanted a bit more than just a section. Yeah. No different than what CMHA has for those small houses off East of 71st, where they have the houses there and they have a small park sitting there for the kids. That's not what we asked specifically.
Well, that's not what you asked for.
No, not me.
No, listen, that's not what you asked for.
That's not what me specifically.
But the engagement.
Because we can pull up the results of the canvassing that y'all had years prior to me moving here.
But I want to push back just a little bit, because there were 3 large community meetings in which there was community buy-in, community engagement. People got up from their seats, went to a board, put stickers on the board saying what they wanted to see. And so what I'm telling you is that we heard you. And no, everybody didn't get what they wanted in terms of the total, but we compromised in a way that says we can make space for green space. We can also make space for new housing. One of the real issues that we're facing right now, in this, particularly on the southeast side of Cleveland, is that the age of our current housing is so old, and it's not attracting those new buyers who want to move in. Folks are now buying houses in Streetsboro and in the southern suburbs. The reality is we needed to make sure that we had options, develop options for people to stay in the Lee Harvard area.
Then if that's the case, and then I will have to specify that the city is saying that there's a lack of understanding from the residents
That's
here.
not true. That's not true.
That's not what we're saying.
That's not true.
They don't know what's
That's not
going
what we're
on
saying.
all the way.
That's
Don't
not
just see the full picture.
That's not true.
That's not what we're saying.
But we appreciate your
So
feedback.
I need there needs to be an understanding then.
Well, the understanding is this.
More than just the pictures on the board.
Got it.
Make it so it's a full circle moment.
Understood.
Like, we're getting pieces and parts, and half of us don't even know what's going on. But like I said, I'm not gonna.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Quite sure y'all pretty much everybody in this room probably familiar with me, Daryl Houston. I've been advocating for everybody sitting in this room for about a year now, and it's been very interesting. So I want to say this first. The community believes in the mayor. We have some issues in the community. We need to address them. I'm asking everybody in this room to start being more involved in your community. This is why your community looks like this, because you don't get involved, okay? Harvard, I grew up on Harvard, went to L.A. Stevenson over there, okay? Harvard has been known and still known for one of the black wealthiest parts of the city of Cleveland to this day, okay? Most of the buildings over here are personally owned by black people, okay? The thing that I'm having a problem with is transparency. Transparency is key to everything. As you sat here, when you mentioned 311, nobody in all this knew, correct? That's transparency, right? We need to have more transparency, more accountability from our elected officials and our appointed people by the mayor, right? Accountability is key to developing everything, right? But right now we're not seeing that. Let's deal with the school district right quick, okay? That's a failing school district. Why? Because no one's being held accountable. No one. You spend $607,000 on luncheons, and then you cry and say that you don't have money, okay? That is taxpayers' waste at its best of mismanagement, okay? And then you take out vocational trades out of the inner city schools for the children, right? Don't sit here and say that we don't have jobs, because what we have is an uneducated generation of trades. That's what we have. We don't have enough plumbers. We don't have enough electricians. We don't have enough of anything. And all we have in the inner city on the east side of Cleveland is a bunch of gas stations.
Amen.
That's all we have. We don't have laundromats in the areas. You come from 55th and Kinsman all the way up to Lee Road. Where's a laundromat?
Okay, let's hear the question, brother.
See, we're not actually doing what we should be doing as a community, right? When you talk about development, when I go on the west side, when I go on Larchmere, when I go in a few other areas, when I go on Fairfax right now, let's talk about Fairfax for one quick second. You guys introduced that in, and you said you wanted to put a grocery store in the community for the people in the community. Well, in that particular area, it's not a lot of people. It's a lot of hospital workers, okay? And also, that
You got a
food
question?
market,
You got
that
a
food
question?
market,
You got a
that
question?
food market carries the highest prices in the city, okay? And that's by design. It shouldn't be that way. A lot of things going on in the community that shouldn't happen. And people in this room, it is election time. And anybody can sit in one of these seats. I suggest y'all educate yourselves and start to be one of these city councilmen or even the mayor, okay? Because it's time that y'all take y'all community back. This community belongs to the residents. And people making decisions on our behalf won't work anymore. This will be the election time that they see we want the right people in place. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next.
Good evening.
You can sit, Marvin, you're good.
My name is Sabrina Otis.
How you doing, Sabrina?
Hi. So my question has to do with the last results for the consent decree, where it talked about police. And the police, their marks went up. But the one mark that hasn't grown is community engagement. And community engagement should not be on the police. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because if they're good with use of force and they're not doing a lot of use of force, then how are they not good with community engagement? Apparently they're able to speak, so they're not using use of force to do anything to anyone. So community engagement really is the area where the city and the police are engaging with residents. And the failure there is that you guys don't want to hear from us. Yeah, you. Sorry.
What makes you think we don't want to hear from you? What's leading to that assumption?
Okay, it's not an assumption. When we call offices and ask for services, we get the runaround. We get cut off. I had one of your commissioners be extra disrespectful to me when I went to ask for some questions about a ticket, and he had the audacity to make it personal. It's out of pocket. When employees of the city of Cleveland are disrespectful to the residents, it's a reflection of the leadership. And I feel like you got a lot of leaders and not enough Indians following them to be able to get the work done. And the police are the only ones being held accountable, but I think there should be some city employees and departments that are held at the same standards. And so I'm asking you, what are you gonna do? Because I've written emails. I know you see my long emails. I'm the email queen. Y'all know I'm the email queen.
I might call you on stage.
And I'm asking, what are you gonna do? I'm tired of being disrespected. Here's a perfect example. Do you know this city doesn't have a implemented on domestic violence to help survivors and victims? You don't.
I didn't hear that first part of what you said. I'm so sorry.
Domestic violence.
Oh, we don't
This
have a what?
city does not have any form implementation regarding helping victims of DV. You don't. And so Atlanta, and you use Columbus, all of them have something, this city doesn't. And it's disrespectful. But come October, everybody talks about DV. They're like, oh, we care about people. No, you don't. Because every department should have some implementation for residents that are going through that may be interacting with them.
So let me address a couple of your points. One, it is unacceptable for anybody at the city of Cleveland who is serving our residents not to have the best customer service. And so if you have the name of that commissioner or employee, I will personally hold them accountable.
Well, Mr. Pruitt is right out there, so that was the one.
Okay. Thank you for that. Number two, you mentioned the consent decree. We have made dramatic strides over the last 3 years on being compliant with the decree. We've had over 50 upgrades over the last 3 years.
Police, but okay.
Can I finish, please?
Yeah.
And one of the things that I know that we've recognized and understand is that the way we think about community policing has to evolve and be more aligned with an all of government approach, right? So the things we do in building and housing affect the decree in terms of, our officers flagging when there's an abandoned home, right? Or making sure we resolve those complaints in an efficient time. All those things we have to get better at as a city. So Chief, you want to speak to some of her concerns about the domestic violence aspect, dispatch not returning phone calls, et cetera?
It wasn't dispatch, it's just the city agencies within your city, they don't call us back.
So I know that we've talked a lot about some of the issues, but one of the things I do want to talk about is domestic violence. So we have the domestic violence
1 second. Let me get you the mic, Chief.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor.
It's all good?
You good?
Yeah.
I think I'm on a short leash here.
Got it.
Apologize. So we do have a domestic violence unit that is just investigates domestic violence. Part of that unit is advocates. The advocates are not law enforcement. They are actually domestic violence. And they are embedded in our domestic violence unit, and they provide support for victims of domestic violence. And that's resources that they support them through the court proceedings, and they also support them when they decide not to prosecute. So
let me piggyback.
Sure.
So I've been in other cities. You and I have had this discussion. Other cities within the city, not the police, within the city, their water, their utilities,
Right.
garbage, whatever, they have an office just that is designed to work with DV to keep them confidential, whatever they need. That's what I'm saying, Mayor. You don't have that. And that is, it's really needed. Because if you have people that are being sex trafficked or whatever, they need a resource that's not out in the open. That's what I'm saying.
Which I understand, and I think that a lot of what you're saying is about other government entities. Right. But the one thing that Mayor Bibb has implemented is the all-of-government approach to everything. So when we talk about public safety, it's an all-of-government approach. As in the past, you would see everything fell on police. Everything was a police issue. And now we partner with all of the different services throughout the city to help us resolve a lot of the issues. No, we're not there yet, I can tell you that. But I don't know that that's ever been a topic of conversation. It doesn't mean it's not something that we could talk about.
Thank you for bringing this to our attention. We'll look at doing something about it. Thank you, Sabrina. Yep. Yes, sir. Please tell me your name.
Gerald Collier. I'm a resident of Ward 1 for 50 years. And I just have a few issues. And I think that I heard about the gentleman right there speaking about
Grace Mount.
Just Grace Mount, development of the community, housing. And I was just thinking about when he was talking about housing, I sat in a lot of meetings. I think it probably was about 2 years ago. We sat at the Harvard Community Center with some big shots out of Cincinnati, all over. I don't even know where these people was from that was making plans to develop Ward 1. And they was like, you know, I'm not, it's no, like, I voted for you at the inauguration down on Quincy where you had your inauguration at. And once we left there, they started talking about, oh, we're about to go, you know, that you was gonna have these white box programs and this stuff going on. But the thing is, everything was hyped up. And next thing you know, my brother told me, he said, I went through this with these people before already, because I was in Columbus for 6 years. So he said, you just getting back, so you go ahead and go through it too, because you gonna see, you're gonna go down there, they're gonna have all these people there, they're gonna have chips, donuts, coffee, all the snacks that you wanna acquire. And we was on a Zoom meeting with, like I said, a guy out of Cincinnati, Ohio, and they was talking about all the stuff that they're gonna do, put flowers on Harvard and everything. Like I said, I've been over here for 50 years. I went to every daycare, every school, Jameson, the old Jameson. And I was over here when it was really, really thriving.
Yeah.
You know, and my thing is this, it's too many people that's in control of, you got, and no disrespect to people that have a 9 to 5. I've just happened to be over here for 50 years, and I'm probably one of the biggest stakeholders in Ward 1, commercial and residential. And I'm not talking about like no little estates, big estates. And the thing is that they got regular people. When I say regular people, and my mother worked a 9 to 5, they got regular people making decisions for business people.
So
That's like me sitting up here telling you how to do your job.
So your feedback is we need more people like you at the table to help us make better decisions.
And I don't know what they need to do.
Okay.
Like I've been in some creative meetings.
Yeah.
They need to really sit down, because Ward 1 is really good.
Mm-hmm.
I've been up here with Sennenberg all the way down to the head prosecutor. I can't even think of his name, Michael O'Malley, and talk with these people, and they love Ward 1 because Ward 1 had 25,000 voters. So if you win Ward 1, you probably get elected for whatever you want. You know, that's one of the diamonds in the rough.
I know. That's true. That's true.
If you don't win Ward 1, you could probably like put a fork in it.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying this about anybody, because I don't care about people who running for this or running for that, and I'm not going to sit here and bash nobody, but they need to secretly or outwardly, whatever, come up with a solution to get business people at the table to make business decisions.
That's great feedback.
Because I'm tired of people having a lot of things to say. Oh, we want houses built. But like the young man said, it's plenty of houses around here. And to piggyback what that man said about this ward don't nobody want to live here. While he was saying that, I got on.
I don't think he didn't say it that way, sir.
Don't. He just said that, the housing. Well, houses going over here for like 200,000.
Yeah.
So I don't know, where that.
So here's my commitment to you. So if Reverend Owens works with you and my team, can you give me a roundtable of 10 businesses in this ward to talk about your feedback, insights, and what we can do to accelerate what we're doing?
I'm gonna bring you 30 of them.
All right, perfect. Deal? So you connect with.
Listen.
Yeah.
All I'm gonna say is this, is that I'm not worried about the other small stuff because, like Mr. Houston said, we need to be held accountable for this stuff because, I don't want to talk down on you because I don't want to talk down on nobody in here because at the end of the day, it's not your fault why it's dilapidated houses because you're not going to live there and whatever. But the thing is, if you build a bigger, stronger business relationship here, because the business that I own, I hired a lot of parents, these kids' parents, and I was about to get robbed one time, and the guy said, no, my mother worked for him. Even though he was robbing the wrong person, but it was fun because the guy, it was fun because somebody saved me.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know who his mom was, but he said my mom worked for him.
Yeah.
And I really think that we got to take the business piece out of the regular common folk hand because they're going to say, oh, we shouldn't have this or we shouldn't have that.
That's great feedback. That's amazing feedback.
And I keep up with a lot of different suburbs. I talk to Kevin Rogers, and because I pray in Civic and Solon, and they have a lot of businesses because their mayor Mark, Ed, he's more open to let other, he's opening up things in that area, and I think that this place should be held more accountable for the business because when we grew up, it was all black businesses.
Yeah.
Every bar in the city of Cleveland is owned by a black person. Back before all this, it was the Owinskis over here. We worked for them, and now they did the right thing. They sold the business to us as we worked for them. Like a lot of us in this community, and that's why I voted for you because I figure if we let some young blood in, they're going to see the vision of the economics because we don't just take the money. You can
reinvest it.
We don't reinvest it. We plow people driveways over here. We cut their grass, and we don't sit up and say, "Hey, look at us, we doing this," but we do a lot of stuff in the community. And it's business people. Like when they have Christmas drive, we drop off the toys up there.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
And we're doing that out of our
I need you to wrap up real quick because we got a long line behind you. Just tell me your first name again.
Gerald Collier.
Gerald, let's link with Marvin Owens after and bring me as many businesses as you can. I will come to the meeting. We'll lead the meeting together and we'll figure out a game plan.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for what you're doing, brother. I appreciate you. All right.
My name is Robin Green, and I'm just very disappointed. It's small changes I don't even see.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have curbs. They had people repair the street. They did more damage than anything. I had to call about that.
What street are you on, Ms.
I'm
Green?
on 118th off Union.
Okay. Did you call to ask for a curb repair? What
We
happened?
need curbs all over. If they come down the street, I don't know who is doing the inspecting.
Okay.
Then you talk about
Curb.
the development
Okay.
and spending all this money. We got to clean up the place. We have to clean up the place. We have homes being built. I'm in Ward 4, next to a home that need to be tore down. How can you build? That's a safety issue. If someone move in that home and they have kids, something go flying off that home, now that child is injured, dead, or anything. Who is going around looking at these homes before you're building them?
Yeah.
They building them so fast and the one next to it need to come down. It makes no sense. Then my water was shut off. I don't know who you got. You talking about, I don't know who shut my water off. It shouldn't have been shut off. They had the wrong address. My family was inconvenienced with that.
Okay.
It's just small changes. I don't see none of that.
Okay.
Then I can go to you got the snow plow. Okay, I know they have to clear the street. They do more damage. They on the curb, tearing the curb up, practically almost going to tear the house down the way they come down the street. I know they have to keep it clean.
Yeah.
We need to do more with the businesses that we have that are here, going around making sure that they're keeping those businesses together before you go putting more here. I'm very disappointed, and I voted for you. As a matter of fact, you might have came to my house and left something on my door, and I said, "Oh, things is going." I don't see nothing. They putting all these vegetable gardens or whatever all over the place. They not maintained, and it's like, who is approving this?
Well, Ms. Green, I'm so sorry you're disappointed. And
I'm very disappointed.
I'm so sorry. And
little changes. And let me tell you about your little garbage department people. They come down, they got the machine and dumping it in and all that. I keep my yard clean. Come by and look at it. 3619 East 118th, if anybody want to know. They come down, they dump in the trash. I come out, I even followed the truck. Wait a minute, y'all can't get this up? They don't even have a broom and dustpan.
All right.
On the truck.
I'm so sorry you're not satisfied.
I'm not going to take up.
So let me just have a few people chime in on garbage pickup and cleanliness, water being cut off.
And if you're looking for some inspectors, I can,
All right, and then building and housing. You want to just talk about?
Because they need help. And they need to start enforcing, because I'm like,
and what street are you in Ward 4?
I'm on 118th Street.
Grab the mic.
And you think I can get a discount for them shutting my water?
That's why Marty's here.
It's 36, mine's 3619.
Okay.
They turned off mine, it's supposed to turn off 3621.
Okay.
I don't know what happened to me.
Gotcha.
Was on something.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Green.
Ms. Green, I think we met and I think we talked at a commander's meeting in the 4th District, and I think we got a house down for you on your block.
After years and years
I know,
and years,
but we met, we talked, So let me know, since I know we have your contact information, what other houses in the area there are that you want us to take a look at. But I know we've worked together before and we can work together again. And I appreciate you coming up today to bring those things up.
Thank you very much. We're going to get some
We gotta get better.
Oh, yeah?
I'm with you on that.
Okay.
All right.
What's your private number?
I don't know. We'll talk after.
Thank you, Ms. Green.
Just talk about snow removal, what we do to make sure the streets aren't too messed up, and our strategy around that, Director?
Sure. One of the things as it relates to snow and ice control, we are working on a focused approach to training. We have a lot of folk that have attrited over time, and so we're bringing on a lot of newer drivers that are, if you notice over the last few seasons, we didn't get as much snowfall accumulation, so they didn't get as many reps as we would like for them to get. One of the things also that we're looking at very closely is in snow and ice control, we used to always talk, especially out here on the southeast side, more about accumulation, but we're really dealing with more ice events and things of that sort now. So we're changing a lot of the approaches to what we're doing, but it's also meaning that we're training a lot and doing a lot of dry runs and things of that sort. But it's hard as it relates to practice plowing snow with no snow. We do set up training areas at the Muni lot to do what we call rodeos, where the drivers get practice servicing around speed tables, curbs, and things of that sort, or practicing working in areas that are tighter as far as the neighborhoods, but we are working to get better. As it relates to the waste collection concerns, we do have that concern where sometimes the trucks either leak or have debris, but keep in mind that we're a department of several divisions, so waste will keep moving, and we'll send our streets division behind them with a street sweeper or other labor if we know about it. So I got you. Call my office, 2485. I will get out there.
311. 311. 311.
They still don't come out. Picking up garbage right down the street.
Okay.
on
Lotus? Okay. All right. We got you. We got you. We got you. We got you. You hear that? Yep. All right.
Joe?
Or call your council person. Okay. All right.
Greetings, everyone. I want to start a quote off by the late, great Frederick Douglass that said, "It is easier to fix a child than to repair a broken adult." I was blessed by the city to receive a neighborhood safety grant to service schools in this community. My name is Oronde East. Oronde East. People in the community call me Brother East. So we were able to service many schools in this community. Miles, A.J. Rickoff, Jameson, and a few other institutions in this community. Recently, a young man who I serviced by the name of Caden Coleman was killed in this community. He happens to be friends with a young man that I brought here today that's going to say a few words on Caden's behalf. I know it disappoints us all to know that a young man loses his life at the age of 10. Could be hard, but it should also be motivation for us to put energy and time into our children.
Absolutely.
Not only did I receive a grant, I also was asked to assist the city with Thrive, with creating a blueprint for violence prevention, specifically amongst our children. A young man by the name of Lorenzo Robeson, who I have here today, asked, could he speak on Caden's behalf and say a few words to the people? I told him that he could speak up here at the mic and he would prefer to stand up and speak to the community.
Come on. Give this young man a round of applause. Where's the mic? Go ahead. Go to the front.
Hello, everyone. How is everyone doing today? I wanted to share a speech. My name is Lorenzo Robeson, and I am 10 years old, and I was friends with Caden, whose life was taken on 147th Street. I am Caden because his spirit now lives within me. I am Caden because I'm 10 years old too. I get good grades too. I respect my family, my teachers, and myself. I'm Caden because I believe in myself. Will I have a chance to survive? Will my life be cut short too? All we want is hot food, something to do after school, and to be safe in our community. You tell me, will the adults in this room make sure that I have a chance to grow. I am Caden. His life is within me. I am Caden. He lives within me.
Proud of you. Proud of you.
We have a responsibility to our children. They all need our support. This young man went from getting D's and F's on his report card. Now, what did you get on your last report card?
All A's and 1 B.
Thanks to the Neighborhood Safety Fund, we were able to go into these schools and provide wraparound services, not only in the schools, but in their homes and recreation centers in which they live. So thank you, Mayor, and we appreciate you.
Let's give this young man a round of applause if we can. This is what the work is about. This is what the work is about. And public safety is not just a city hall project. It is a community group project. Amen. And so let's make sure we stand up for this young man and young people across the city every damn day as much as we can. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, everyone. My name is Constance Winston, and I live in the 4th District. I've been living there for about 50 years now. That's the Mount Pleasant area.
Yeah. Ward 4?
Horrible.
Okay.
Deplorable. Houses dilapidated. Robert Fulton School, what is that now? Dilapidated. We have, I believe you guys have some type of nonprofit organization that have people that got out of jail that live in the apartment building down the street from where I am.
What street are you on?
On 139th Street. And cars drive through. There's a building there that was blew up.
Okay, I know you're talking about.
2 cars hit 2 trees on my street.
Yeah.
And I called the councilwoman. And you know what she told me when I asked, can we get a speed bump? No.
You said no?
No. Every time I talk to her about something, no. Here, call this number. You're supposed to be working for me, and I'm paying you. You know who you are. I'm not going to say your name, but you know who you are. We had another one before her that was stealing money. It's the truth. Nothing is being fixed in our neighborhood at all. Summertime, grass grows up to here. I have a house that's next door to me that I've been taking care of even before I was there. My grandparents was taking care of that. And when the new neighbor bought the house and I asked, are you the owner? Why you want to know? I said, well, could you cut your bushes because I've been cutting them. If I was a white person, you wouldn't be asking me this. Do you know who the MF I am? I'm a F gangster.
Okay, all right. So let me just address a couple things. Number one, we have Callie Mershman in the back. She runs our speed table program. I'll do whatever I can to work with your council person to get you a speed table.
Don't work with her because she ain't gonna do nothing.
We're gonna get you a speed table for the summertime.
She is not gonna do anything. I wanted a neighborhood thing.
Yeah. And then the second thing I would say, if you have the address of where there is high grass, give us that.
I call all the time.
Give us that address after this meeting, and we'll make sure we flag it for building and housing to get the code enforcement right on it. I know it's no grass now because it's snowing, but we'll flag that house as we speak.
I've had to call so many times, people dumping stuff, about 6 or 8 times. The only person that helped me out was this young lady that worked in City Hall.
Okay, building and housing will work with you after this meeting, and then Callie will work with you on the speed table.
I know Marty, because I worked with him at the county prosecutor's office.
This doesn't work anymore? Oh, okay.
Good evening. My name is Janine Isom Barnhill, and I am a Ward 1 resident. I've lived in Ward 1. My parents lived there since I was 3 years old.
Mm-hmm.
and I'm up there a little bit. But I just have a couple of quick questions, and I promise I'm not going to keep you. But first, I want to thank you for an open forum, because a lot of times we go to meetings, we just have folks come and talk, and we're not allowed to ask questions because people don't want to deal with the hard questions. So I want to thank you for that.
This is the job.
Okay.
Thank you.
And also, I wanted to piggyback off a couple of things. I have been able to call about dumping, and somebody came out, dead animals, and about what you were saying about how you're taking people, making them accountable when they're buying houses, that because there's a situation going on with my dad's home, and they're taking that person to court. So I can attest that.
Was it an out-of-state
I'm not
landlord?
sure if it was out of state or what, but whatever it was, they have to go to court.
Good.
So, and I've also called about grass, and they came out. It might have took a couple of days, but they did come. But next to my questions are, as far as the new houses that are going to be, they're going to be built, are those houses going to be affordable for people? Number one. My second question is, the townhalls like this, how are they advertised, or when do we, because I literally found out about this 2 hours prior. And a lot of the people in the different areas, wards, they're not finding out. But what I am seeing is that the people that are here, everybody knows everybody. Because they work for the city or this, that, and the other. So the residents that actually need to be here and ask questions, they don't know anything about these meetings.
That's a great point.
And my last one is, what are your plans for, I live on the boundary of Ward 1. And no shade to Lee Harvard, but all we hear is Lee Harvard. Lee Harvard, Ward 1 involves right there at 131st in Marston, 135th in Miles, the Village, the Island, part of the Mount Pleasant area. All I hear about is what is going on in Lee Harvard, Lee Harvard. Do you all have any plans to do anything to help over there where Jameson used to be, over there, Moses, all of in that area, back over where Bartlett, I know that they were talking about changing the boundaries or whatever. And I was at all of those meetings when they came out talking about green space and all of that. And I don't remember them saying anything about what they were planning on doing for those areas. We're still there.
So,
and it's a lot of work that needs to be done there.
Absolutely. Well, first, we advertise the town hall via press release and all of our media channels at the City of Cleveland. We also work with grassroots community organizations like our neighborhood media outlet, 95.9, who's here today. I commit to you that our communications team and myself will do a better job advertising as much as possible. And it's important that good neighbors like you spread the word as well. Because as we know, folks don't look at the news like they used to back in the day. Right? A lot of folks ain't on social media, Instagram or TikTok either. Right? So we got to use every channel that we can. I want to have Marvin talk about some broader work we're doing outside of Lee Harvard. There is a lot in the pipeline for the entire southeast side, including the parts you just mentioned. And then I want to have Frank speak very briefly about what's ahead in terms of how we've expanded our resources around vacant lots and grass cutting, so you know what to expect as the spring and summer take shape. Marvin and then Frank.
So on the issue of including other neighborhoods in the Southeast Side strategy, you're right. The initial push was for the 3 catalytic sites in the Lee Harvard area, so it felt like Lee Harvard was getting most of the attention. However, the home repair program that we launched included wards 1, 2, and 4. And so there are a number of residents that they were able to take advantage of the home repair work. In addition to that, we're now beginning to focus our attention on Mount Pleasant, which is really focusing in on the Union and Kinsman intersection and working our way backwards or further west from that intersection. So there's lots of plans for how do we look at the streets, how do we focus our commercial corridor work in that area as well in terms of white boxing and preparing buildings for redevelopment. And then we're excited about the fact that we're working in partnership with my colleague who's here, Rhonda Brown, who's working on arts and the creative economy. We're going to be working on an arts district concept up and down Kinsman and Union, that's that whole corridor. We're going to be doing murals on 6 or 7 buildings in that area to begin the process. We're looking at acquiring properties as well to build out the whole idea. But the reality is that whole intersection we've been thinking a lot about, and we've heard from the residents about the fact that it's a very dangerous intersection. The gas station that's there.
Now, which intersection are you talking about now?
Where Kinsman and Union come together.
Okay.
140th.
Okay.
And so the reality is we're looking at that whole area in terms of how do we make it better. So we've done a number of safety walks in the area. We've identifying houses that need to be addressed in terms of code enforcement. So we have not forgotten about those other communities. We started in Lee Harvard in terms of the catalytic sites, but we are also working in all the other neighborhoods as well.
Okay, are you doing anything as far as businesses up and down miles from 147th to 135th?
Absolutely, working very closely with New Point CDC, who's got a lot of engagement with the local business owners in the area. They have identified a number of businesses that need to be addressed. They're going to be new investments on 131st Street. A couple of new businesses are going to be launching there. And then we're also working all the way down in terms of miles. So yes, that those areas are also being looked at very closely.
And you said that as far as the housing, like those houses, because I know Ward 2 is like where that grocery store is, right over there. I know they were going door to door and passing our flyers out about, home repairs for seniors. And
Absolutely,
like that.
absolutely. And so we've been working very closely with the Department of Aging. We got a lot of referrals from our Department of Aging for residents in Ward 2 who need help. And so we completed about 23 houses, 23 homes in the home repair program on the southeast side so far. The vast majority of them have been Ward 1, but about 6 or 7 of these houses we were done so far have been in Ward 2 and Ward 4.
So we're just getting started. We're just trying to ramp up.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Real quick on just the summer vacant lot grass cutting strategies for everybody in the audience too. I know that's a big topic for folks.
Thank you, Mayor. Just real quick, we're doing several things to impact the vacant lot program on this season. The first thing, I guess that would be major, is the whole vacant lot program has been brought into the director's office so that I can watch it very closely and rework some of the processes that are established with it. We also this year are working with Councilmember Jones, who has been helping me actually put a framework together for the way we use our local contractors to get better accountability out of those groups. The last thing we're doing that's really big is we're bringing the folk on a month early to start training and getting people ready to hit the streets as soon as the weather allows. One of the things that, especially when we have those wet, rainy springs, it means that first cut is so bad and hard to get through. So our goal is to try to start as early as possible as soon as the weather allows us so we don't get behind. But those are just 3 major changes that you'll see this year. But it is a very large program and it's tough, but we're going to continue to get better at it.
Yes, sir.
All right. I got a few points that I want to get to, and I just want to get some background. So, born and raised in this area, graduated from the old John F. Kennedy, went to Whitney Young, went to Jamerson. And I know that this city was built on the infrastructure for just under 1 million people, which we're way under, which means, the infrastructure is large, but the population is light. There's a couple things that I noticed and I've done research on, and I wonder how your administration is going to address it. Like, we're still listed as one of the top 10 segregated cities in the nation. Mm-hmm. Which the encounters that people from the southeast side experience, especially downtown. I had a business downtown. My first interaction with Chief Todd was the day I was opening my business, and she was at my door telling me I had no legal right to open my business. So moving forward, I encountered indictments, things of that nature, that ended with me walking away with no criminal record, nothing, that they were searching for somebody else and targeted me. With that being said, I worked for the city of Cleveland for 10 years. I was educated in the city of Cleveland. I worked in recreations. I've noticed that programs that was used to defer youth from being in the streets, because that's my main concern today. My child is here at John F. Kennedy High School, and she wants out of this high school. She's one of the most intelligent kids in this school, and she wants out of JFK because of things that are going on in this school, things that are going on in the district, and the engagement in the community has been taken away. I was a swimmer. I swam in Kennedy Rec Center. I swam at Hamilton Rec Center. We did water polo on the east side. We had a swim team on the east side. All of these are programs that lead to scholarships for kids, that lead to educational options for kids that are no longer offered on the east side. You know what they offer on the east side? Water basketball. What is water basketball? It has no merit beyond what it is in the city of Cleveland. So then you take away the depth pools in the new facilities that are built on the east side. I guarantee you, Estherbrook, where their swim team is fully financed, fully backed, they don't have swimmers that have been better than the kids that came off the east side. Trust me, I know. I swam against them. I coach kids from out of this area. So with that being said, what is our engagement process moving forward for these kids? Because at the end of the day, these kids have so many different situations going on. My daughter bring people around me, and the first thing they talk about is her having a father, and they don't have a father. So what is our plan as a city? Because at the end of the day, the kids from, let's not even talk elementary school. We're talking middle school to high school kids are part of the problem that a lot of these people in here, because we have no succession plan for real. In this area, everybody in this room is aging out. So that's what happened with the houses. People aged out, their kids grew up in this area, and then they moved on to programs beyond this. Same thing with the high school. I went to Kennedy, I took physics, calculus. They don't even have physics and calculus in Kennedy at the moment for the honors kids.
I know.
So that means our educational system in the city of Cleveland is regressing, not progressing. Along with the so all the schools. So and I hate to come, because me and you, we only person on the council that I know is you and Chief Todd. So
it's all good. Well, let me just address a couple of your points, and I want to have our new director of our brand new Parks and Rec department, Alex Nichols, talk about our future vision. We can clap for her. She's great. Talk about our vision for Parks and Rec and improving our facilities as a city. Look, I want to appreciate you and what you do for the city and this neighborhood as a Black business owner. I commit to you and recognize that we as a city have not been a good faith partner to supporting the Black business minority ecosystem in this city. We got to do a better job, especially businesses of color in the hospitality business and sector in Cleveland. It's something that I'm focused on, and I know we have to improve as a city to make this a more attractive environment, just as attractive as other cities across the country like Atlanta and DC.
Well, you know, there was a report
right?
in the 2008 Associated Press about why Cleveland was not attractive to new businesses because we did not have the entertainment capabilities that other cities. And at the end of the day, our police force and our fire department and the city of Cleveland spends a lot of time squashing entertainment in the city of Cleveland.
We have to be more culturally sensitive to that as well. So I'm with you on that. We got to do a better job around that. Secondly, to your point around CMSD, I don't take it lightly that I sit in a seat because of you in this room where the mayor has mayoral control of the schools. I don't take that lightly. Have we made progress over the last 11 plus years? Yes, but it is not good enough for anybody in our city. And I wanna just say this. I wanna thank this community for voting for the school levy last November by over 67% margin. However, we need to use that mandate and those investments to make the right hard choices to ensure we have the same high quality curriculum and out of school time activities and after school time activities on the east side like you got on the west side.
Absolutely.
Now we're gonna have to make some hard choices, especially on our footprint, across the city and in the east side. And I'm gonna need to work with y'all to make those hard choices. And it ain't gonna be easy. I wanna be very clear and direct about that. But by having the right funding and service model, because right now we got not enough kids in empty buildings. Not enough kids in empty buildings. So what does that mean? We have to spread peanut butter, which undermines the level of high quality options in education we can offer our young people, especially on the east side, right? And so we're prioritizing. Who says they hate peanut butter? I don't like it that much either. So especially making sure kids have Algebra 1 before they go to high school, right? And the same level of sports that we had back in the day. It's so important. And so we have some work to do. We're undergoing that long-term planning right now. The district and the board and myself will be in the community talking about these hard choices, but we as a community have to do this together for our children's future. Now I want Alex to talk about our rec and park master plan and what's ahead to make sure our recs and parks are best in class in the future. Director.
Great.
Then we got 2 more questions and we're wrapping up, okay? All right.
Thank you. I just want to let you know this is my 4th government employer. So I have a lot of experience working with municipal government, working in parks and recreation for over 25 years. It's an honor to serve the residents of the city of Cleveland. I just want to start in saying that the city was very progressive and that a couple of years ago they wanted to undertake a master plan for parks and recreation. The city recognized the parks and recreation services needed to improve, and so there was a robust community engagement process to gather feedback, and then the city worked with a consultant to develop a master plan. It's a 15-year master plan. It's very detailed. It gets into parks, recreation, programming, and other related services. So I started just in the beginning of October, and I have 3 main focus points for this current calendar year. 1, we need to improve the maintenance in the facilities that we currently have. Going around visiting facilities, it's evident to me that we have a lot of deferred maintenance. I like to use the analogy, we can't invite our friends over until we clean up our house. So I feel like we need to clean up our house, improve the quality of the conditions of our facilities. Once we do that, then while that's going on, we're looking at the types of programs and services that we're offering. I understand, I agree with you, our aquatic programming, our pool programming is way down. We have been understaffed in aquatics. We started working towards staffing our pools, indoor and outdoor, in November of 24.
I saw Delisa's plan. I worked for Delise, so I know.
So, and I've been pretty aggressive, and she would probably tell you I've been pretty aggressive. I want the pools open, and I want us to really build our aquatic programming. The final piece that I'm going to focus on for this year is marketing and communicating what we have available. Because even when I was in the job search and looking for information on what the city had to offer, I was really surprised that it was very difficult to find information. So I recognize what the community is saying, and it is certainly important that we make sure everybody knows what's available, because what we do is provide youth development services in partnership with the schools and our other departments. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Director. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. We got 2 more. We got 2 more. 2 more.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Bernita Thomas, and I live and breathe Mount Pleasant and out here also. I grew up in Mount Pleasant. I went to Robert Fulton Elementary School. I went to Alexander Hamilton Junior High School, and I graduated from Kennedy in 1974.
Go Eagles.
Thank you. Everyone needs to be accountable for what is going on in our community. I belong to 2 block clubs here, the Leesville Citizen Council and Kosovo. Leesville Citizen Council is with Miss Brown, and also the Kosovo is with Janet Williams. People, you need to get involved. We only have maybe 20 or 25 people out of 25,000 people that are involved in this. We are trying to do things to move this community along. I go to almost every meeting, and I also worship here. I go to Affinity Missionary Baptist Church. Now, Mayor, when we ask you to come out here, you need to come and see what we need. We voted you in, you need to see what we need. And as anybody else that's sitting there, you need to come and see what we need.
When's your next block club meeting?
Janice, oh, wait a minute.
Jenny Williams, which is Forster Road, is every first Monday of
Okay.
the month. Then
All right.
you have Lisaville, which is every last Monday of the month.
Hey, Blair.
Then you have Mile Heights in the Village, which is every Thursday of the month. And then you have Mr. Brown's Block Club meeting, which is today, every third Wednesday of the month.
Thank you, Ms. Dollar.
You're very welcome.
So I got my, go ahead. You want to keep going?
Okay,
I'm so
yes.
sorry.
And you said there's nothing for us to do here in the city. I also go to free concerts in this city. Now, ain't all the concerts not hip hop. They are classical and jazz.
I like classical.
Wait a minute. Let me finish this. I go to the Cleveland Institute of Music. I go to the Cleveland Orchestra. I get these things, I find out these things from people here in our community who want to give me information.
Mm-hmm.
Councilman, right now I just can't say anything. People need to be accountable for what they do. And if we don't like it out here, then there's always vote. I am also a precinct committee person. And I would recommend, if you're not voting, start to vote.
Amen. Thank you. I'm coming to a block club meeting soon. I got you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. I see you at the orchestra.
Wait, one more thing, I'm sorry. And I'm also involved in as a co-chair of the 4th District Community Relations Committee. I'll tell you this, if you all don't tell us.
Does a great job.
We try to help the police to make the community better. It's 12 of us in the 4th District that do this. You better give me your number. Okay. In any case, we try to help the community. When the police can't get to you, at least we could go and we'll take your information and give it to the commander or officer or Officer Todd. That's what we do. I also co-chair the commanders meeting on the 4th Wednesday of every month at 6:30. I don't even see all of you all here. If you want to be involved, get involved.
Amen. All right. Thank you. We got our call to action. All right, close us out, ma'am.
Hi, I'm LaShawn Caldwell, and I'm a Ward 4 homeowner.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm also elected precinct person of 4U. And I'm here today, Mayor, because when you call for services, I've been living on that street, which is all new homes, for 23 years. There's been people living there before me on Reservoir Place Drive. We've been asking for a new street, which we have a small street, and everybody in our community has to pay high taxes. One of the last houses that sold on our street sold for $250,000. We take care of our little area by the park. But this is disheartening when you call and say you need a street. You tell your council person of Ward 4 your concerns. They tell you to call somebody else. I'm going to make it perfectly clear. Everybody that works for the city works for me.
I know that's right.
I called, and I'm being honest, and I don't want to be funny. When I called Mayor Jackson when he was in office, and I was having a problem with the council person, and I asked him, I said, Mayor Jackson, if I have a problem with my council person, who is their supervisor? And he said, you are, Ms. Caldwell. City Hall is called City Hall because it's the people's building.
That's right.
A lot of people need to understand you could be elected to the city, you could be appointed, or you could just get hired. But you are a public servant for all residents of the city of Cleveland. If you ask for our vote, You're asking to serve.
Amen.
We give you our vote and
Amen.
expect service.
Amen.
So at this point, when I'm told I can't get a street when I call because it costs too much, then the next time the head of that department says again, it's not this, my council person tell me to call, I don't need a council person if I have to call for myself.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go into a long discussion
Gotcha,
because
gotcha.
I'm like,
What's your street?
Reservoir Place Drive, right off Kinsman.
All
and I
right.
want to make something clear.
Reservoir Place Drive.
I don't live there by force in Mount Pleasant. I live there by choice. So therefore, I can say, if I don't bring 50 people to a meeting, it don't matter because I am the power of one.
Amen.
And I thank you for your time.
Thank
and
you.
attention.
Thank you. Thank you. Looks like I got a street to pave. Thank you all for being here. God bless. Take care. Appreciate it.